Good morning, welcome back to the shop. Got a special video for y'all. Dad has requested to do a video of him talking about the project he's been working on this past week. But I'm going to introduce the first part of the project. It's been in a couple of other short videos and some clips, but this is Allison. We name everything around here. She is a 1974 International Travelette 200 series truck, which means she's a 3/4 ton, 1 ton truck. 74, 75 are kind of unique to the international trucks. Mid-year 75 was when they ended production. So even though it's a 2-year only, it's really a 1-year only, because 74s, the leftover 74s were sold in 75, and that's all there were. International was making some big changes in 74. They were getting ready for all sorts of things that could have come if they had stayed in business with trucks, light duty trucks like this, but they didn't. So the suspension, the frame, everything underneath the 74, 75, the exhaust manifolds to fit the frame, everything is different. We're building not a show truck, but an actual shop truck. It's going to have a flatbed on it and a gooseneck hitch, and we're going to pull our car hauler with it, and we're going to ride around, and we're going to take trips across country with a camper in it. We're going to do all sorts of stuff with this truck. So we decided to put it on a 78 Chevrolet frame with a 6-liter LS and a 4L80. And we're going to do all the tuning ourselves and get it all set up and running. It's getting hard for me to think about a 70s, 80 model truck not just being a used truck. It's now a classic truck that's nearly 40 to 50 years old, depending on what year you're looking at it, or how back in the years you're looking. So they're getting old. And 40-year-old trucks need a lot of maintenance because they have not always been treated kind. This particular setup, we moved the frame a little bit, set the cab on it, and for the look we're building a custom truck just for us. I wanted a narrow rear end. I wanted the dualies tucked up in kind of close, and I didn't want that sitting out wide. So I went and found a mid-80s service truck that had the narrow dually underneath it. And that's sort of where this project started. We kind of believe in touching everything. You fix it now, go through it. It's 40 years old. It needs to be serviced and gone through. Or you break down on the side of the road, and I don't want that. So this is where this started. You got a hub assembly, inner and outer bearings. The drums are turnable, okay? But you've got the whole hub assembly. It's about a 45 to 50 pound assembly. And is that too much weight to put on my nearly 70-year-old brake lathe? Well, as I'm walking by, that's the beginnings of our tuning setup. That's our just came in today eBay refurbished laptop. We're going to use that for our shop. It's actually a touchscreen. We'll have our wiring diagrams loaded up and our tuning software and our diagnostic software all set up and running on that. But yeah, so is this too much for the whole assembly for my old lathe? And I know I can turn the drums. I know it'll turn them, even though they're 3.5 to 4 inches wide. I know I can turn them. But we're going to walk outside where he's working and let him tell you his story out here. Good morning, gentlemen.
Howdy.
As you can see, we've still got projects everywhere. And so this is what we're talking about right here. This is the drum and the hub assembly. There's an inner, outer bearing, and of course it was all together as one piece, and it wasn't sure how it came apart or how to get the bearings out. And I'm gonna let Dad take over and tell you his story.
All right, this all started because I'm building a truck, and my son and I build a truck. We build it, but we're gonna have to work on it later. I want it right when it leaves the shop. Everything is right as we can make it. So pull the back apart, check the brakes. Brakes are wore out. So we've got new shoes, new wheel cylinders, and all that. And I want to turn the drum because it's an older truck. Couldn't find a video. I thought I remembered how to do it. You simply drive these studs out. These studs come through the bottom, through these holes. Drive them straight down with a brass punch. As you see, you don't run them. And they're not that hard to get out. You just simply drive them out. And while they're out, you can clean them and check the threads, make sure you don't have any damaged threads on these, which you can't see when it's on the assembly. And without a part, I wanted to check the bearings. All right, well, check the back bearing. You simply take the seal out, and the bearing sits right here. Pull the bearing out. Sure enough, I don't know if you can see it or not, but the bearing has got a lot of pits on it. That's just one spot I found. I said, okay, well, I got pits on the inside bearing. Let me check the outside bearing. So, upon looking at it, the outside bearing cannot come out the front. It has to come out the back. So, okay, how do you get it out? Well, take long to figure out. Bearing comes out, the rear race comes out. So you knock this race out, those bearings come out. The bearing is just sitting in there. Turn it over and you drive the race, outside race, out this way. Well, what we didn't know, because I couldn't find a video anywhere, that before you start, a snap ring right here, right on top of that outside race. And the little sucker's kind of hid. So once we found it, we were able to squeeze it. Ted's helped me. We got a screwdriver behind it. Once he got a screwdriver behind it and pushed it up, I slid a screwdriver through this way and caught the edge and just pushed it, and it came right out. With that out, I was able to drive the race out in the bearing. Now understand, once you start driving these races out, you're probably going to damage them. So to check the bearings, you're probably going to wind up replacing at least the races, if not bearings and races. Now, people say, oh, you can reach through there and check it and see how the bearing feels and all that. Well, understand, these bearings are floating in oil. And this bearing felt good, spun good, and all I could see looked good. Now, if you take a hard look at this bearing, that bearing's all pieces. But by feeling it, and what I could see through this small hole, it appeared to be a good bearing. So this video is to let people know the drum and the hub do separate. Simply drive 8 studs out, use a brass punch. Remove the inside seal, bearing, and race. Take your snap ring out. Then drop pull your bearing out and reverse it. Make sure you put the bearing in facing the correct way. The bearing drops in there facing this way because the race is going to go on top of it, sort of backwards. Most time you put everything in like this. Well, this one's like this. You drop the bearing in and then you drive the race in. The bearing's got enough play, it'll sit down in here so you're not putting any pressure on your bearing. Once you get the race in, you simply put your snap ring back in here. And once that's in, you drive your other race in right here, set your bearing in, and you drive your seal in. And meantime, somebody else is turning the drum. Once the drum's turned, you simply turn it over, drive your 8 studs back in it, and you're ready to hang it back on there.
Nicely done. Now with this separated, I should be able to mount that, which is a lot lighter and a lot easier, on my old lathe in there and not tear it up and get it slicked up for him this morning. Thank you, gentlemen.
Did you miss anything, Ted?
Nope, you did good.